Hi, I'm Gary White for Channel 6 Central Kentucky Television, and I'm here with Kenny Fogel with our community focus on Nelson County. And today we're here to talk about a unique circumstance that's going to take
sometimes
place.
Community focus on the county is not as pretty as it is otherwise. And this is not a pretty one.
Exactly. On April the 12th, there's going to be a proceeding with the Bardstown City Council with regards to
to primarily the removal of the mayor. There's other things they can do. There's other disciplinary action it could result in, but it's going to be just like a trial. I mean, just like you put somebody on trial for something, and what degree is level of degree it is, it could end up with the removal of the Mayor John Royalty from the city of Bardstown.
Now, this came about because there was a report done by an independent counsel from Matt Miller Crosby, which is attorneys out of Lexington. Tell us a little about how this report came about.
Well, there's been a lot of animosity over the last 2 years of the mayor's tenure between some of the city council members and the mayor himself. And right before the election, probably about a week or so before the election, they came to the city council meeting, and there was some anonymous packets laying outside the door of the city council. And basically, everything in the packet was an investigation against one of the council members, Keisha Copeland. And it was some damaging information about her that had been compiled and put together in these packets, and they were brought in, distributed to each of the city council members, and but nobody knew who did it. It was anonymous, nothing signed. Well, eventually the city did trace it back to a city employee that had made the copies. So the city council at that time decided to launch an investigation and hired this group to start the investigation. And then in the meantime, the election took place. Ms. Copeland was reelected, and but several others were not. And so the new council come in and had to make the decision whether to keep this investigation going, pursue it, or to let it drop. And they decided to pursue the investigation.
And we might want to add that the information that was compiled was primarily personal information. It was not actually connected with Bardstown.
Some of it had to do with fire runs and some other things of that nature that they were just checking on. But that became part of the investigation and how this was compiled. The investigation steamrolled after that. After Mr. Scott Crosby got involved, it really started steamrolling after that.
And Scott Crosby is with the Matt Miller Crosby attorneys at law. I believe he was a former FBI agent. So they contracted with them to do this investigation, and then in March, the end of March, they actually presented that.
They presented it to the city council. They went into closed session without the mayor there, and decided to read the report and decided whether they were going to proceed with it or not, let it drop, just do disciplinary action at that time. They decided to pursue it further, to go the full route, and they uncovered 42-page report, I believe, is what Crosby came up with. And it was, if you go on the one side of the report, it's very, very damaging to the mayor, obviously, but that's and as we always say, anytime we talk about any kind of indictment or anything else, you're only seeing one side of the story. But this report was very thorough, very damaging, and it was sanctioned by the city council of Bardstown.
So the council paid for it, and they did their investigation. They talked to many members of the community, the city council as well, some other people from Bardstown. So those allegations then are going to be investigated at
it'll be not necessarily investigated. It'll be just like a trial.
Okay.
But they're going to meet at the Nelson County Justice Center. The new Justice Center in Bardstown is on the second floor. They're going to use the large courtroom there, just like a regular courtroom. It holds about 100 people. I asked one of the city council members yesterday if they thought that that was going to be big enough, and they thought so. And I have my doubts because I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty large crowd showing up to this. They're going to have obviously security there to make sure nobody comes in, frisk everybody down, make sure they go through the metal detectors and everything. So it's going to be run just like a trial. They're going to have a hearing officer that they've selected. Crosby will be the attorney for the city council or this investigation, and Jason Floyd will be the attorney for Mayor John Royalty. And they will run it just like a regular trial that you see any other time. Have their opening statements, have their cross-examinations, and
witnesses.
At the end, the city council, they will serve as jurors. They will actually be the jurors themselves, and it has to be a 6-0 vote whatever they decide to do. It should be a unanimous vote. And if they can decide to remove the mayor or other disciplinary action.
So, so what are their options?
Primarily, right at this point, their only option is remove the mayor.
Okay.
Now, they can vote on it later to come up with, city council can come up with some other options if they choose to. But at this point, they've not made any other option. The only option they've got at this very moment, as we're filming this, is remove the mayor. Now, if they decide they get into closed session, decide they don't want to go completely that route, they can vote as a city council just like they can anything else to say, well, we're going to do some other disciplinary action. Now, what that would entail, since nobody's even talked about it, we have no idea.
Right. And if they did choose to remove John Royalty, what are the steps then? Who becomes mayor?
City council determines who becomes mayor. And I asked the question, I talked to 2 city council members just yesterday and today, and that was one of my questions, and I don't think they're 100% sure. I asked, I said, somebody that's currently on the city council, and they said it doesn't have to be. They said it could be, most likely it would be, somebody from the city council that is the next mayor that would fill out the term. But it would be just acting mayor for a while because there'll be some appeals on this. There's no question about it. Matter of fact, John Royalty filed a suit Wednesday afternoon. He filed a lawsuit of his own to delay these hearings because the argument of Jason Floyd, his attorney, is Scott Crosby had 3 months to put this investigation together, and that he should be given the same courtesy of the 3 months to do his review instead of just 2 weeks to come up with a rebuttal. So first thing they're going to try to do on April 12th that morning is try to delay the proceedings as long as possible. Second thing is he's filed a defamation of character lawsuit, the mayor has, and he's going to be looking for some punitive damages. If he gets out of this, he's going to be filing against the city for punitive damages. So it's not going to be done right away.
Right. And that lawsuit for the punitive damages, is that against the city itself or against individual council members?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I have not read that. It just came out late yesterday afternoon. So and city council members, I hadn't even read it because I talked to, again, 2 city council members, and they said they had not reviewed it to know exactly what's in it. They just knew that what he was asking for.
Has this ever come up where the mayor has been basically on trial before in the city of Bardstown?
And I'm a pretty good student of history in Bardstown and Nelson County, and I've never known of it ever happening before, ever. Now, they've had some rough times over the years, but no, I can never remember. This is very much like an impeachment proceedings like you would see in Congress with a president or something of that nature. They bring the charges up, they go to trial, and again, I asked the city council members if they'll be asking questions, and they said they could, but and just like any other trial, a juror can ask questions in a regular trial. Most time they don't, but they said that right at this point they don't believe they would, but they'll be serving the jurors, and again, a presiding judge will be presiding over it, and just like any other trial you would go to.
Okay.
And there's several charges, like I said, 42 pages worth. A lot of it stems, it goes to racism. It goes to overreach of power. As they say, the mayor directed city employees to do political work and personal work on city time, using city resources such as copy machines and false pretenses. They said the mayor had asked they each wanted to turn in their iPad because he said there was a need for a maintenance update. And the report says, well, it wasn't the maintenance update he was looking for. He was looking to get into their personal emails. And he accessed the personal emails of Councilman Copeland. So, again, there's so many allegations and so many things in this report that it's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah. And there's also allegations of perjury.
There is, because he had been asked before about some questions under oath that he said he denied knowing anything about the packets, and there was a couple other things. So perjury will be another thing as to whether he actually directed the employee that did the copying. Did he actually direct the employee to do it, and for what purpose did he do it? And I know there's a fireman involved. There's one of his IT specialists that actually saved some stuff because he was a little leery of it at the time. So there's quite a few. The witness list is pretty long. I think I saw the witness list, about 14 to 15 people will be on. So I don't know how long this trial is going to last. It started at 10 a.m. on April 12th unless it gets delayed, but it could last a while.
Yes. And it is open to the public.
It is. And I did say, is it first come, first serve? It is. And I do feel like it'll fill up. The courtroom holds maybe 100 and some people, but this is going to be a big deal. And I'd say media from all over the state of Kentucky and around will be part of what fills up the courtroom.
So again, that's scheduled for April the 12th, 10 a.m. in the Nelson County Courthouse. And as Kenny had mentioned, there is a pending litigation now too that may
it could delay it,
delay that.
and I suspect it will, because that's just you know how most courts trials are. Now they're going to try to expedite this as quickly as possible for various reasons. Obviously, you got to have an administration in the government because it reaches far beyond just the mayor. There's several other people in the administration that is also under investigation as being complicit with the mayor, but whether they were under orders. You know, there's just a lot of questions, and I'm not going to take one side or the other because I've known Mayor Royalty for a long time, and I know that I don't think that he's the kind of person that's going to come in and try to destroy a city. But I think there were some things that went on that got beyond the reach of several people and maybe got out of hand. And this investigation, this trial, and whatever comes out of it's going to bring out a lot of stuff that we'll have to wait and find out.
Absolutely. So again, that will be April the 12th for the actual proceedings, and we'll keep you up to date on how they proceed.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
It's been Gary White for Channel 6 Central Kentucky Television.